wanted to look at implicit and explicit learning and coaching. Okay. Um, Implicit coaching is around not just letting them play, but what does the game itself give them? What does it what learning outcomes are there from the game itself? So implicit is like it's happening anyway. All right. The explicit bit is where we come in or the coach's knowledge comes in to layer on top of what's already taken place. All right. So let me just go through some pieces. So, for example, this could be a case of setting up a game, manipulating the players, the environment, or the task, like we just spoke about, or multiples of those. Um, the game that's taking place is offering a learning experience in itself. All right. So, in small-sided games, players will naturally get the technical outcomes that we spoke about earlier, the tactical outcomes, minimal tactical outcomes is all players attacking and defending, sort of and transitioning. So those natural four moments of the game are ongoing. The physical outcomes around, changing direction, ABCs, mobility, football fitness, they're a natural outcome. Your psychological outcomes are the stuff we spoke about earlier, whether it's confidence, enjoyment, being competitive, and the social outcomes around working together. So even with limited coaching, instruction, and so on, small-sided games give you those outcomes. All right. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't need to manage it. All right. Or you don't need to set some rules, or you don't need to make the changes, or you don't need to be sharp if there's a discipline issue, or you don't need to praise or anything like that. And there's no one suggesting that pick two teams, give them a ball, and go have a coffee. It is a case of managing it, knowing that if I don't coach anything technical, that there will be loads and loads of outcomes anyway from this implicit part. And you know what? It gives you implicit coaching, gives you a good opportunity sometimes just to step back, observe, watch their behavior, where sometimes the explicit coaching, you can get right into the nuts and bolts and maybe miss some of the bigger picture. Okay. Explicit coaching will have all that anyway, because the same thing is taking place. But we start to layer the coach information on top. All right. So what am I teaching you about the game? All right. So that'll come down the form of coaching points. And that's kind of praising good behavior, praising good performance to elicit more outcomes. All right. So if we look at this dribbling session, for example, the implicit part would be the players get loads of opportunities to dribble. They'll do other technical things within the game as well. So they'll pass, they'll turn, they'll first touch, ball control, make decisions, all that sort of stuff. They'll have tactical outcomes because they're attacking and defending something. All right, so you get that natural four moments taking place. Your physical outcomes, your psychological outcomes, and your social outcomes. All right, so that's this game left to run. All right, this game now with explicit coaching involved will have all the implicit stuff, and then you will have your coaching points based on top of that. So whether it's okay, can you identify the free gate? What's the best gate to attack at this moment? Small touches when there's a lot of traffic, big touches when there's space, eyes up, scanning, body fades, all those little things that you can layer on top in terms of information. All right. So small-sided games are brilliant for both. As promised earlier, I will send this as a PDF, so you will have some of these resources to use and to call on. And finally, we're going to look at tactical games. So we've looked at small-sided games from the point of view of ball touches, dribbling, 1v1s, the smaller end of the game, all right, the micro end of the game. Now, from a tactical point of view, games contain all four moments. That's why I'm so keen to point out that every player has something to attack and defend. All right, it's a pet hate of mine when sessions stop just because someone's given the ball away or they've won it back, because you don't want that on a Saturday when you play. These screenshots are from the England DNA. All right, this presentation is available on Google. If you just put in England DNA football, you'll get the presentation of all of this. The very best thing from a tactical point of view about small-sided games is you can coach everything in there. All right. So all these moments, all right, whether it's an in possession thing and you're talking about build up, whether it's about penetrating, breaking lines, whether it's about finishing, penetrative passes, crossing, cutbacks, all that sort of stuff. And then you have your transition moments as well. Okay. Likewise, with the out of possession stuff, you can coach any part within a small sided game. Some examples. So this is a crossing and finishing small sided game. Okay. So you've got the bulk of the players in here. In this particular case, we've used the wide players as neutral players. All right. So playing for both teams, whichever's in possession. The Reds, let's say the Blues are attacking in this situation. If they attack normally and score a goal, it's a goal. If they attack where the assist comes from out wide, it's double goals. All right. So there's an emphasis on scoring from crosses. All right. If that player is a left-footed player, the cross is a more natural one. If it's a right-footed player, they might turn back and might slide something or they might hang something up, but it changes the picture naturally. All right. So obviously when this player, if it's a left-footed, is going that way, he might use his right foot down here, but he might cut back onto his left foot as well. So you get that both sides. You could have a situation where you don't have neutral players, but you have those channels for an outfield player to run into. You could have it where a defender can go out and put pressure on. All right. But that's the explicit part. That's the coach part to decide what is best for your team at that particular moment. All right. An example of a game around compact defending. We've added 2 neutral players for the team in possession. All right. That basically means that it's, in this case, it's 8 with the goalkeeper versus 6. So 7v5 outfield. When the Reds lose the ball, they must become compact, attain a position within those 3 zones nearest the ball. All right. So that the outnumberedness, the +2, doesn't kill them quickly. All right. If the Blues are attacking and they give the ball away, all right, the Reds then have a 2-player advantage. It must be down to the Blues then to become compact quickly. Again, using those 3 zones nearest the ball. Okay, so just for clarity, if the ball is with the blue player here, the Reds would occupy 1, 2, 3 zones to defend and be compact around the ball. And the last one then is one I use quite a lot personally. So it's a counter. It's got a counter pressing aim. There's a few rules to this. We talk about playing through the quarters. All right. It has to be below head height. You have to play through the quarters. All right. So there's loads of technical outcomes there anyway. Loads of pressing and being good with the ball outcomes. The blue team, if this guy is to score a goal, all the blue players must be beyond halfway by the time he's striking the ball. So the most important part of counter pressing is being ready and in position to counter press. If the Reds win it, we are now all up the pitch in terms of counter pressing and the Blues jumping on to regain the ball from the Reds again. Okay, so there's 100,000 different tactical games. This is not the only one for being compact. This is not the only one for counter pressing, and by far not the only one for crossing. But it gives you an idea of the tactical, the 4 moment stuff you can go into with small-sided games as well. Okay, and to end on a question we started with earlier, we're far from just playing a game again. Okay, they're far more flexible, there's far more juice in it than just